Good afternoon, 2BD class, children, mummies, daddies, family, etc. This is the first time I've done this kind of video. I'm quite worried and nervous about it. Good afternoon, because it's Saturday afternoon, and so I'm sorry. I apologise for the clothes I'm wearing. Not really very formal. Anyway. Some parents have been asking about the ways that I have been teaching different mathematical concepts. For example, how have I been teaching subtraction or addition, and the same kind of questions or concerns will come up with multiplication and division in the next term. Recently we've been doing halving and doubling, and again a couple of parents have asked me how I've been teaching it. You of course know how to do it yourselves, but I can understand the concern that you want to know, or you would like to know, how I have been teaching it, so that perhaps you're doing it the same way. A couple of things I would say first of all, before anything at all really. Some examples of resources which we use in the classroom. So counters are very useful. 100 square, which I sent home before, and a number line, both of which you could find for free and print from the internet. Number cards, very, very important. If you have numbers 1 to 100 and 1 to 200 would be even more helpful. Quite a lot of work to make them, I suppose. Again, you can print them from the internet. You can find on different websites, or just Google search. And even making your own could be a good maths exercise. You could use money. You could maybe photocopy money. If people are not allowed to photocopy money in Azerbaijan, we never had this conversation. You could also get, although you probably have to spend some money, I imagine, what's called Deans. Now, Deans has different kinds of resources, different colours. There are little cubes used for counting ones, and then there are 10 sticks. These are good for place value, for addition, subtraction, and as I'll try to show, they can be used for halving and doubling. I'll get them in a second. There are the Deans. Sorry. There are Dean's resources for the 1s and 10s, also 100s, and even 1000s. Okay. Hurry up, boy. So, thinking about halving. The first thing to say is, or one of the first things, I keep saying the first thing to say, but then I say the new first thing to say. Anyway. The language of halving has been in the children's English lives and in their English learning from a very, very early age. The main example would be from kindergarten. The teacher would say, fold the paper in half. And that, you can say, is the introduction to the idea of halving. And as we did in the classroom this week, or showed in the classroom this week, you fold a piece of paper in half, and therefore, or then, each half of the paper is a half. Now that's fractions, obviously how this is written. And there's obviously a link between halving and there's obviously a link between halving and fractions. When we start out doing halving, the numbers are quite small, and it's important for the children to understand that it's the same as equal sharing. the two halves or the two amounts that you get to in your answer must be equal. And it's the idea of sharing. It's quite often pictures of pizzas which are used to help with fraction work and to help with halving, and then later to help with division. And so there's obviously a link between halving and division. Division we come to in the next term. Halving and doubling as inverse, opposite operations is a very important thing. The children need to know or have some automatic knowledge of doubling, and really doubles up to 15. So from double 1 to up to double 15, the higher the better, but at this time in year 2 there needs to be some automatic knowledge. For example, doubling up to 15 would be ideal. Number bonds up to 10, up to 20. Number bonds also up to 100, at least in tens, 30 and 70, 60 and 40. If they know number bonds to 100, for example, 64 and 36, great. For halving, at this time, we are saying, you can't have odd numbers. Of course, that's not quite right, but at this time in year 2, it's what we are saying. There are some children in the class who have some understanding of 0.5. But there are not many children who have this understanding. For most, it's pretty confusing, and they're not expected to know about 0.5 at this time. If they do, great, and I should encourage any children that do know. But it's not expected knowledge, it's not required knowledge, it's just a bonus or extra. Okay, I'm going to stop this video because I've been talking. I need to do some examples in the next little video.